Anyone want to buy an E? That's Tom's pub. I think he's still a bit angry because I left him in the swamp. And stole his car. Tom would like to see me dead. At least that. Murderous greetings from Willow Creek. The usual postcards and brochures. It says 3 kegs, probably of beer. Probably belongs to a fisherman. Hello, Doctor? Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course. Come on up.
Doctor?
What's troubling you, Adrian?
Do you believe me?
Darren, Adrian, we've gone through this so many times before. Of course I believe you.
Then why am I still on the hit list?
I'm a doctor, not a judge. By the way, they rejected the assessment of your not being of sound mind.
Rejected? But what about the awful nightmares?
That kind of reaction is only normal, Adrian. If somebody suddenly revealed to me that I was descended from a long line of bloodthirsty murderers, I'd have nightmares too.
How come you ended up here in the first place?
A colleague of mine I'd known from my student days. A doctor. Heinz Hermann. Once worked here in the sanatorium. He was a friend of the Gordons. Then, 12 years ago, those dreadful murders took place. Heinz was one of the victims. I came here to give his family and the others a little spiritual support, and I'm still here. That's just how life goes sometimes.
This Spooner reckons he's a bit of a big shot.
He's one of those people who pack their own bags and then complain when they're too heavy.
What kind of bags?
Oh, he mucked something up in London and was posted here as punishment. Something he's not dealing with too well.
What did he do? Book the wrong guy?
You know about it? Well, Mr. Spooner is a bit of a trigger-happy cowboy. As far as I know, he overstepped his authority back in London, and that led to some guilty people getting off. Or maybe the other way round. However, I'm not exactly right in the picture with all this.
Oh, great. A bad-natured investigator who can't tell the difference between guilty and innocent. I couldn't have come up against a better guy. Get this, I've been released on bail.
Well, that's a good reason to celebrate.
I'm not quite so sure. The bail was paid anonymously. You know anything about that by any chance?
Anonymously? No. Who'd do something like that?
No idea. To be honest, I'd hoped you were behind it. You like living in Willow Creek?
Yes, I like the life and the people. It's like time stood still here.
And every few years, along comes some psycho and murders half a dozen locals.
Yes, well, compared to the murder statistics in London, it's a proper holiday here.
Do you see me as being an arsonist?
Judging by your nightmares, you do at least seem to have a violence-orientated imagination.
Yeah, but Stephen King has that too.
As far as I'm aware, he has never been under suspicion of an arson attack resulting in 3 dead.
Whose side are you actually on?
On your side, Adrian.
Good. I swear to you that I've only ever told you the truth.
There are as many truths as there are people, Adrian, and we still have to find yours.
I had a strange experience earlier. It was just like one of my nightmares, but this time I was awake. It was in the police station, just as I was wanting to pick up my stuff. I suddenly found I had awesome strength. I dragged the guy to me through the bars and rammed my pencil into his eye. Wham! Then it was all over. It was just so real. Scary.
You don't say.
Huh, great. so I'm cursed and possessed.
I was talking to a colleague about you the other day. She's how shall I put it? She understands alternative therapies.
What's that all about then? Drugs? Electric shock? Voodoo?
Hypnosis.
You're not serious.
It would at least be a possible way of finding out more.
Well, for my part, as long as you don't saw open the top of my skull. These sessions, how long are they supposed to continue for?
What do you mean?
Well, I've been coming here every day for the past 3 weeks, but I'm still having nightmares every night, and the assessment says I'm 100% fit.
We ought to try hypnosis.
And what's that supposed to do? You want to join in on my nightmares?
Let's just try it tomorrow. If we can get to your roots, then perhaps we'll understand what your dreams are trying to tell us.
Boo. That's what they want to tell us. The dreams, I mean. Well, okay then, Doc. If you think that this might help me in some way. Catch you later.
Take care.
Dr. Winterbottom's lighter. Quite an expensive one. I guess it was a present. Dr. Winterbottom's notebook. Probably very revealing. At some point she'll be able to write her memoirs with it. Whenever I'm here, the ashtray is full. Dr. Winterbottom smokes like a chimney. Perhaps she should be in therapy. I wonder if the record of our discussions will end up in there. Dr. Winterbottom writes down a patient's dreams in the green books, but I haven't seen anyone else but me here yet. Strange. There's a poster hanging here. We're rebuilding for you. Soon will be even more spectacular. Experience the horror up close and personal. Reopening on the 1st of December. Oh, that's in a few days' time. I'd just like to see my file before I leave. I'd just like to see my file. That's Chief Inspector Spooner, the man that made the last 3 weeks of my life a living hell. A real ray of sunshine. Do you have a moment, Inspector?
If you're quick.
Why do you dislike me?
I'm a cop. You're a criminal.
Come on, a little bit of friendliness never hurt anyone.
Miss Valley was friendly.
It wasn't me! How many times do I have to tell you? My doctor, Winterbottom, has she been living in Willow Creek for long?
She moved here 10, 12 years ago.
Why? Because of the murders?
Ask her yourself.
What was it that brought you here?
I don't know what that's got to do with you.
What about your partner? He seems really busy.
Zach. He's not my partner, he's my constable. And yes, he's got lots to do, so don't disturb him.
And you really don't know who paid my bail?
It's paid to the court, not to me. I just got a letter from them saying I should let you go.
The guy in the other cell.
Is a paragon of virtue.
What did he do?
He beat up annoying little Americans. Should I let him out?
All right, all right. This here village, Willow Creek. Are there many criminals here?
Only since you turned up.
Does that mean it was quieter before? Not even a little bit of shoplifting?
Just normal village life. Punch-ups, rape, and drink driving.
So pretty much nothing happening. Can I have a look at my file?
Why? Have you forgotten something you've done?
Apart from the fact that it wasn't me?
No. You can't have a look.
Could you make me a copy of it then?
Of course not. That's a police file.
Why should I want to set fire to the castle?
Well, it could be because you were shipped off to America as a kid and had a miserable life there. Until you found out that you'd been taken for a ride your whole life. Then you came back to England to take revenge on your family.
What a load of crap.
So you finally admit it. It's all total bollocks. That's exactly why you have to see Dr. Winterbottom. And I'm gonna make sure that there are a lot more doctors taking care of you all day for the rest of your life. I can tell you why it was you. Because you're bloody mad. A nutter. You're obsessed with being a Gordon. A descendant of a murderous clan. It's some kind of justification for your irrational desire to burn and set fire to things. You pyromaniac.
It was Lewis. Damn you.
Oh yeah, the gardener. Then find him. He's disappeared without a trace since you've been here. Have you got him weighing on your conscience too? Spit it out.
Have you found out anything about my ancestry?
Yep, I've got a copy of Darren Michael's birth certificate here. Born on the 27th of February 1970 in Boston, Massachusetts.
And what about Adrian Gordon?
He's still dead in the Gordon crypt. That's what it says in the death certificate signed by Dr. Heinz Herman. Cause of death, 5th degree burns.
5th degree? In other words, only his ashes are left. How convenient. That's all for now.
I'm keeping my eye on you.
Constable Zach, can I disturb you for a minute?
No?
As long as Spoon... Constable Zach seems okay. Unfortunately, Spoon has cold coffee. I'm not going back there voluntarily. There were a load of knives in that before, or am I mistaken?
Sold out.
The sales girl was terrified of me. As long as I don't ask her any questions, then I probably won't give her a heart attack. The sales girl was I don't want to disturb her from doing nothing any longer. And anyway...
Jones & Partners Chambers. Please leave your name and telephone number. We're in your corner.
I've had enough of my future for today. Maybe I'll call her again tomorrow. A narrow, thin board. I found it amongst the remains of the fair. At the moment, there's nothing. I'd just like to see my father. The sad remains of a bicycle. A letterbox. A barrel. It's... I'll have time to sit there when I'm old. Is that Tom's underwear hanging out to dry? Nope. Cloths. They aren't particularly clean, but I wouldn't expect anything else from Tom's pub. You know? I'm glad I drank bottled beer last time I was there. It looks like it hasn't been used for a very long time. I'm about to change that. I don't want to... Shame. No donuts left. Hello? Are you out of donuts?
No. There are some in the storeroom, but they're reserved for the nice inspector. He buys them here every morning.
Of course. And what if I want one too?
Then bake one yourself.
When does the inspector usually come in?
He should have been here to pick up his donuts ages ago. He's probably been delayed by the scum of the earth. Again.
Nice description.
That's what Conrad calls his clientele, not me.
Conrad?
Conrad Spooner. That's what the inspector's called. Didn't you know?
I'd like a coffee, black.
Coming up.
Okay, I've got to come up with something that's going to make Spooner mad. The sponge is dripping now. I don't want to be carrying it around with me for too long. It would be rather unpleasant. A high-performance chest freezer with a glass lid. Not a lot in it. A pack of card cases. Oh, and a box of ice cream. Mint and chocolate. The seal is in really bad shape. If it gets wet, you probably wouldn't be able to get the chest open anymore. I'll wet the sealing rubbers with the wet sponge. If you close the freezer now, the water will freeze and it'll be almost impossible to open it again without defrosting the whole thing. If I close the freezer now, I'll probably never be able to open it again. I'd rather leave it. If I close the freezer now, I'll probably never be able to open it again. I'd rather... If I close the freezer now, I'll probably never be able to open it again. Hello? I didn't know that donuts was so popular in England.
I don't know, but I do know that Spooner loves them. Just as much as those cops in American TV shows.
And what does the dear inspector do when there aren't any donuts left?
He always gets what he wants. If need be, I bake him some.
I'll have another coffee, please.
It's on the bar.
It's cold. Can I get a new one?
Sure.
A wash bucket filled with, dirty water. if I close the freezer now? A shelf full of stock for the cafe. What have we got here? Coffee, tea, juice, milk. Ah, and a package of donuts. Those have to be the donuts specially reserved for Spooner. I'll put the box of donuts in a nice visible spot in the freezer. Farewell, you donuts. Nobody's gonna be getting you out of there in a hurry. Now that ought to slow down the inspector's donut order somewhat.
Another one of these flat days today. I could really do with something to lift me up a little.
Edward could come along at any time. Better if we wait till this evening.
Sod Edward. Give me a couple of donuts at least.
Yeah, sure. I'll get you some. Conrad, your donuts seem to have ended up in the freezer.
Yeah? They can't you bung them in the oven for a bit?
The problem is, the lid's frozen solid.
Ah, I get it. You want me to help you warm up your frozen chest?
I think those two are gonna be busy for a while. Can I ask you something briefly? Do you believe I set fire to the castle?
Well, Mr. Michaels, you claim to be Samuel Gordon's son, and you were at the scene of the crime with a smoldering torch in your hand.
I had that to defend myself with.
Against the mysterious secret order that nobody knows about and nobody's seen?
It's mentioned in the Gordon Chronicles.
500 years ago.
Forget it.
And then there was the thing with poor Miss Valley, right? We found your tracks at the scene of the crime.
I told you, forget it. Spooner, your inspector, is he always so nice?
I don't know. He was in the homicide department in London until half a year ago. Then, he got redeployed here as a punishment.
That explains a lot.
Since then, he's tried everything to get back out of here. He locks people up for the smallest of misdemeanors. Good for the statistics, you see.
And you can't do anything about it?
What does a bear do about the winter? He rolls himself up and sleeps until the spring comes.
Can you make a copy of my file and send it to my lawyer?
Didn't he get one ages ago?
He, wants to have the current version for the embassy.
Not possible.
Something wrong?
I'd forgotten. The copier gave up the ghost a few weeks back, but there's a new one on order.
Are you being serious?
It's not so bad. I have so little to do here, I could type up most of the documents.
I understand. So, would you be so kind as to type my file?
No.
And what if I fix that thing?
All right then, you go and see what you can do with it.
How long are you gonna look for Angelina?
She'll be deemed missing until we find her.
Even if she's long since dead?
We haven't found a body yet, Mr. Michaels.
How involved were you in the investigation of my case?
I searched the sewer system and the bunker.
And you didn't find any clues?
No.
That just can't be true.
It's bloody dark down there, Mr. Michaels, and full of rats. Not for the faint-hearted.
Is there anything new on the kidnapping? Have you spoken to Tom, Bobby, or the kid in Wales?
According to the statement, Tom was at Alton Towers with Bobby at the time.
And you don't find it a little bit strange that those two went to a theme park?
The only strange thing was that Bobby was in hospital for 2 days afterwards with concussion. But we've got a medical certificate that proves that.
And what if Tom was lying?
We can't prove it. He had 2 tickets for the theme park and the paperwork from the hospital.
Damn. And the boy?
There's no one called Van Helsing in Wales.
Goodbye, Constable. It can't be that difficult to fix a copier. What if we got here? The fuse has blown. Switch to turn it on, and you press the green button to copy. If I twist and connect the wires that work, it should be able to copy again. That should do it. Can I ask you something briefly?
Hmm?
The copier's working again.
Hmm?
Now can you copy my file?
Sure. Then I'll send the copy to your lawyer. The copy of your file?
Then I can send it myself.
The inspector insists that no files can leave the building without authorization.
I see. Damn. Constable?
Mm-hmm?
When does the mail go? My lawyer needs the file as soon as possible.
I'll post it later on. It ought to be collected this afternoon.
Thanks. Goodbye, Constable. The police archive. There aren't very many files, but lots of them are labeled Gordon. A barrel. I somehow need to stop the letter from vanishing irretrievably. The mailbag is stretched over a kind of hanger. I could lay something over it so that the letter doesn't fall into the bag. The board is just the right size. It'll go straight on top of the mailbag so that when the constable posts the letter, I can easily pull it out again. Let's see what's in here. Friday afternoon, 12:30. Oh, they must have discovered the body then. The time of death for Miss Valley was the previous evening, Thursday, between 10 and midnight. Cause of death, burned alive after a blow to the back of the head. Grim. Witness interviews. Let's see. Not important. Saw nothing. It continues. Friday, 1837. Emergency services called out. At that time, I was in the ruins of the old academy with Angelina, Lewis, and my mother. Then, Saturday, 12:06 a.m. Fire under control. At that time, I was running from the ruins in the direction of the castle. 3 bodies were retrieved. Lady Eleanor Gordon, Edward Bartholomew Bates, the butler, and Sally Wood, the cook. 1 survivor, Lady Victoria Gordon, suffering from severe smoke inhalation. Also on Saturday morning, 12:12 a.m., Darren Michaels arrested on suspicion of arson and murder of Miss Valley. Witness interviews on the subject unproductive, and Lady Victoria Gordon could not as yet be questioned. She remains in shock. After a 2-week period of hospitalization, was discharged of her own wishes to continue medical supervision at home. Hey, it says here that Murray can't remember having seen me in the hotel on Thursday evening. That can't be right. That was exactly when he threw me out of the hotel. Oh, the rat was lying. Just wait. Evidence still insufficient to charge, but strongly suspected of crime. Current state of the investigation. Darren Michaels' conduct, as well as his contradictory testimony, is currently being examined for plausibility by the psychiatric expert, Dr. Joyce Winterbottom. Here's a note to Constable Zach. If he's diagnosed as nuts, will he have to be remanded in a loony bin? Possible murder weapon, a torch, still smoldering, which was in Darren Michaels' possession when apprehended. He is undergoing forensic examination. Deportation to USA not possible. Release of the suspect on bail on direction of the court. Dr. Winterbottom authorized as prime supervisory agent and point of referral. Good, and I've got 2 new goals already. Visit Victoria and see how she's doing, and let Murray know what I think. I'll write in the file so I don't forget. There are enough empty pages. I can stash the remains of my diary away with it as well. Then let's see what Murray's got to say in his defense.
Mr. Michaels! Welcome back to Gordon's Palace. We missed you here.
How's that? The last time we saw each other was Thursday, 3 weeks ago, when you threw me out of the hotel.
Thrown out of the hotel? How did that happen then?
The thing with the sewers, the secret entrance in Angelina's room. That ring any bells?
Really? Oh yes, there was something. Ah, well, please excuse me. I did overreact a little. I hope you're not going to bear a grudge, though, Mr. Michaels. I'm very happy to make things up with you. You'll also understand that I couldn't hold your reservation for such a long period. Unfortunately, your room is occupied at the moment. But you can have another, a bigger, nicer one, for a small price, really. And for such a room, a ridiculously tiny price.
So you've remembered then? Very good. Then please go right back to the police and tell them that you know exactly where I was on the evening that Miss Valley was murdered.
Was that the same day? Are you sure? Now, it may well have been. I don't pay much attention to that kind of thing. Why should I? It's really nothing to do with me.
Two-faced snake! I insist you march down to the inspector and tell him you want to change your statement.
Mr. Michaels, you're free. I don't understand your problem.
I'm only out on bail.
Oh, my congratulations. Oh, I'm sure that wasn't cheap. However, in spite of that, I still don't see why I should get involved with things that don't concern me.
You can't be serious. Thanks to you, I've just spent the past 3 weeks sitting in a cell as an innocent man.
Mr. Michaels, I really am extremely sorry, but I can't fulfill your request. My own credibility would be on the line if I were to simply change my mind. Unless...
Unless what? Come on, spit it out and quit playing around, you pathetic little blackmailer. Otherwise, I promise you that the murder series will continue. Here and now. No. Admittedly, I'd be the last one who's standing in your way. But a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, isn't that so? All the same, I would like a photo of you. Nothing sensational. Maybe somewhere in the woods with a knife in your hand. So they can send me straight into the madhouse. No way.
Okay, think about it. A watertight alibi for a tiny little amusing photo. It's not a bad exchange.
You are one nasty dirtbag, Murray. You know that?
I'll even give you a camera to take it with. My best one.
Yeah. Does it still work using a lever?
It's a collector's piece. One of the first instant film cameras on the European market. An SX-70. And still in great condition, too. 15 years ago, a very well-groomed gentleman handed it over to me as a deposit in my pawn shop. He never picked it up again. So, you can say that I obtained it quite legitimately. And now, I entrust you with it. Pay attention, I'll tell you how it works.
That's okay. I'll work it out. If I choose to use it.
But that's not all. I've got another present for you. Here, a brand new rucksack. And free food and lodgings for as long as you wish, Mr. Michaels. Accept it as a peace offering and reparations for the trouble with the statement.
You really are a few cards short of a full deck.
Mr. Michaels, wait!
What do you want now?
Forget the woods. In front of the castle would definitely have much more impact. The photo, I mean.
And people think I'm crazy.